Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to do pattern drafting for the plus sizes. This tutorial has been requested for a long time. I'm really sorry it's taken me such a long time to do this. Even though it was filmed quite a while ago, editing took time. This particular drafting has been done to the measurements of one of my subscribers, Marley Taunton, and she kindly sent me the measurements. She's yet to make the t-shirt, and I will share with you in one of the future videos how it turned out. So follow the instructions with your measurements and you should be fine. I would also advise you to watch one of the previous lessons. I'll put the link below the video for the t-shirt making, which is a basic t-shirt. So let's go ahead and get started how to do pattern drafting for plus sizes. Okay, basically I've taken paper which is double layered, so this is folded here. Now this paper, I bought it from a pound shop. Basically it is this one, and it was 10 meters and it's only £1 for 10 meters. So this is absolutely perfect if you're going to do pattern drafting. Okay, so this is a plus size pattern, and I have got measurements from a subscriber from YouTube who kindly sent me the measurements. I'll put the measurements up on the screen, then you understand where I'm going. Okay, so basically my paper measures about 29 inches or 74 centimeters in length, and by width it's 50 cm or 19.5 inches. Okay, so it really doesn't matter what your paper measures, you need your measurements. If your hip is going to be, say for example 12 or 13 inches, then you need to have a little bit extra on the side, so your paper should be wider and longer than you need. That's just a basic thing. Okay, so I've taken the length longer than I need because Marley, who kindly sent me the measurements, hasn't sent me her the length of her top and also her body length. So this is going to be a little bit of guesswork, but I know her full height, which is just under 5 foot. So she's relatively short, which also reflects in the body shape. But if you're a normal height like 5'4", 6 or 8, then basically you are going to take the body length slightly longer. I'm going to explain this as we go along. Okay, so I'm going to get my marker pen so you can see where I'm marking. Right, basically we're going to mark 3 measurements. From the top of the paper here, first I'm going to mark 8 inches. Now I'm not sure if I've explained this to you in the tutorial before. This is basically a plus size pattern, so if you are any size between size 18 and upwards, I'm talking about UK sizes, so you have to convert this into whichever country you're in. So size 18, 20, 22, that sizes I'm talking about. I have taken from here to here 8.5 inches. Now I know you probably would like to know how did I get 8.5 inches. If I start explaining all of that, I'm going to be sitting here telling you a lot of math. Now I'm not teaching 100% pattern drafting. This is just for people who wants to sew at home, a quick and easy way of drafting a t-shirt. So just follow along these lines, and if you have questions just email me. Now because I don't know her body length, this is a guesswork. So I'm going to take it as from the top here, which will be your nape of the neck, here 15.5 inches, based on her full height that she sent me, which is 4'11". So I'm going to mark this as 15.5 or 39.5 centimeters. Usually this will be 16 to 16.5 for normal length, so I'm going to take about an inch shorter. Hip line mostly always will be around 22 to 24 depending on your height. So I'm taking 22 for Marley, take it 23, or if you're really tall, 5'8" or something, then 24 there. So we have got 3 markings here. I'm not sure if you can see it, probably very lightly, but these are the 3 markings, so just going across those lines. Now we are going to mark the neckline. So starting from the edge here, I'm going to take 4 inches or 10 centimeters, and let me just move this a little bit so you can see clearly. And from the top, neckline, however deep you want, you can customize it later on. I'm going to just take 5.5 inches here. Shoulder, again, she's not sent me, but being a larger lady, I will take it as 9. And Marley, if you're watching this, you'll have to customize it if the shoulder is too wide. So basically I've taken 9 because of the way a body is shaped. Normally it would be 8 inches for a normal shoulder, but I'm taking a little bit more because of the plus size element. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler and draw a straight line from the shoulder marking. I am just going to draw a straight line like so, and then we already have got the chest marking or the bust, so I'm just going to place my ruler here, straighten it out and just make it meet these two lines. Then we can shape our armholes. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go somewhere in the middle and just place this armhole. One of the things about plus size drafting is you do get a really curvy armhole. The smaller the size is, the armhole size becomes slightly inner like this, and I've shown you in the previous pattern drafting tutorials that it will be really small. This confuses people, even though the drafting method is exactly same as before. Because of the shape, this will confuse people. That's why I'm doing a separate tutorial. Okay, so now we need to mark a bust. Our bust is, for Marley, it's about 50 inches. So I'm going to divide it by 4 plus add an inch, which will come to 12.5 when it's divided by 4, but I'm adding an extra inch, that is 13.5. Remember, this is inclusive of seam allowance, so you're fine. Now we've got the waist marking here. Her waist is 44 inches divided and you get 11, so I'm going to take as 12. So that will be my marking line. Again, the hip line is, her hip is 51 and I've divided it by 4, so 12.75 plus 1 inch is 13.75. So that is going to be my marking there. So we are going to just gently kind of join this and go all the way, kind of slope it down to the hip line. Now if you have, like some people will have the midriff, which is around this area to this area. If this is larger or bigger than your hip area, then you need to start shaping this wide like that. Okay, this is a flat pattern, there's no darts or anything like the darts. That's something that I need to show you in the next one. This is just a plain one. So anyway, and now I'm going to mark my neck, which is, I'm just going to take a U shape there. We also need to give a shoulder slope, so from the top here I'm going to go and do an inch of shoulder slope and go and mark it there like so. Okay, and now we also need to know the back neck, because I have got 2 layers here. I'm drafting the front as well as the back. This will be a fold line. So the back neck, I'm going to drop it about 2 inches and have a gentle curve for the back neck. Okay, just so that it's kind of easy to wear, I'm making this the front to be shorter and the back to be longer. Marley can customize it later on the way she wants it, but it's quite flattering for larger ladies to cover the complete bum area. So the front, I'm going to take it as about 24, 25, because again it's going to be an inch shorter by the time you've done your hem. So I'm just going to go and kind of slope it down to there, and then the back will start coming like this. So it kind of covers the bum area. So I'm just going to hold it and pin it in a couple of places. You normally don't pin papers, but I just do it because it's convenient for me. So I'm just going to trim the front bit off, because seam allowance for your hem is going to be just about 1 centimeter or ½ an inch. So you don't really need to mark it. If you don't want this up and down sort of effect, then just go ahead and watch my video on the pattern drafting I've shown you for a normal size, and just follow the instructions. So I'm just going to leave it back here, and then now I'm cutting both the layers. First I cut only one layer, the top layer. So can you see, that's the top layer and that's the bottom layer, and that's the back. Okay, so I'm just going to shift this around, and now when I'm cutting it, I'm just going to gently slope it around, because this is quite a bit of curve here, so it's kind of sometimes difficult to get that angle. So this is trial and error. You've got to, because you're drafting it for yourself, you could wear this and see if this is fitting properly. If it's not, then you could, if you have a lot of room and you want a bit more shape, then you can always gently curve it. But for Marley, because I've not seen her picture of her body shape, this is going to be a guesswork. So I've just given a little bit more here, like about ½ an inch more than my waistline, because then in my experience, I think that's going to look neater. But the proof is when she makes the garment and wears it. So let's have a look. So this, I'm cutting only one layer of the front neckline. So I'm going to drop it down, cut both the layers now. Like so. And then going to cut the shoulder. And just go along this line. And there is almost our pattern, but we need to give a little bit of more front shape. So basically I take the front and gently, about 1/4 of an inch or ½ an inch, just make this a bit more open, because you need this as your ease for moving your arms, because the front goes in like that, but the back is always kind of straight and you kind of open up your arms. So that's how it looks. Now I didn't tell you about the armhole, so I'm just gonna go back and explain it to you. So let's measure our armhole. You're gonna have 1 centimeter of seam allowance there, so I'm gonna leave it, and I'm going to go and leave another centimeter there, and just take that again, because the front is going to be slightly bigger than the back armhole. So I just go and do it. I've just left a little bit of seam allowance there, which is only going to be overlocked, so you only need 1 centimeter or like less than ½ an inch of seam allowance. She has actually given me armhole as 20, and that armhole is measuring 20. So basically, when you measure, if you do your bust properly and your shoulder drop properly, then this will, that's how God has made our body. So no matter what size you are, the proportions are going to be perfect. Because I didn't really measure the armhole before I drafted this pattern, but her armhole is 20 and this is measuring 20. Okay, and if you're larger than this size, basically what's going to happen is this will extend. Okay, this area will go like probably 1 inch wider here, which will add another 4 inches to your bust line. So if you do that, then you need to add a little bit more to your sleeve as well. So that's the only change you will do, and basically that is your pattern. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the sleeve drafting next. this is for the sleeve, and basically I've taken it in 2 layers, and this is on fold. The reason I don't have, like, obviously when you cut your sleeve, sometimes you might have to open the sleeve and just lay it flat and cut. So that's why I've taken it on fold already, the paper. So basically, Marley's measurements, she's given me upper arm as 16. So divided by half, which is 8. I'm going to, my paper measures about 9 3/4 inch. So there's sufficient enough paper there. So this is the sleeve head part, and the sleeve's going to be drafted like this. So she's given me a 20-inch long sleeve, but I've taken it as 21. Plus we're going to leave a little bit extra for the fold of the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to fold it at 21 here and trim the excess off. So I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches. So that's that. Now from the top of the sleeve, I'm going to measure about 4.5 to 5 inches. Don't go beyond that, because then your sleeve, the round of your sleeve, will be a lot bigger than the armhole that you need to fit in. So I'm going to go for 4.5 inches here, and from here I'm going to take 8.5, because half of her upper arm is 8, but this is the arm point. Upper arm will come somewhere about 1 inch or 2 inches lower. So which means when it's going to be curved, that's going to be the right measurement. So I'm just going to make 8.5 here, and then I'm going to fold this paper into half to that marking and just make a crease mark. So you've got your crease mark, and basically we leave about 1.5 inches here from the center point, and just go to a straight line. Sorry, this marking I should have done later. This is not the right way to do it. So I'm going to take from there to there, which is measuring 8.5, and mark it halfway through. It's about 4.25, and that's going to be a center point. So basically you're going to go an upper curve and a lower curve like that, and passing through that point. The sleeve drafting method is exactly same as the smaller sizes I've shown you. There's no difference in that. This is not a perfect way of drafting. If you want to learn perfect drafting, then you need to take classes or buy a book and teach yourself. My channel is only DIY. Even though I do make commercial patterns, I'm not going into depth of teaching. Maybe I'll do it in the future, but this is only just a basic one. I've cut a lot of corners to get here, in terms of to get you to a stage where you're comfortable doing your own t-shirt sort of thing. Okay, so from this point to this point, basically you need to measure your wrist and how much ever you want. I'm giving about 5.5 inches. So Marley has not given me this measurement, so she can customize it when she gets it. So from 5.5 to there, it's just draw a straight line, and you could measure your elbow and take a little curve like this. Usually that's how we normally do. Sorry, my pen's not probably. So you could take a little curve like that to make this width a little bit smaller if your elbow is smaller than the measurement that's coming up here. So I'm just going to cut it straight because I don't know the measurements of elbow, so Marley can customize it when she gets it. And the last thing is we need to measure this and see whether this will fit into our armhole. So I'm going to measure this, and yes, it's measuring 10 inches, which means that's going to fit perfectly into the armhole. Okay, so that's how you draft a plus size pattern. I'm just going to cut this off because seam allowance is only going to be very, very less, so you don't really need to add that much to the sleeve. So I'm just going to cut it on the line. Like so. And also, just for the front part, we need to go just like how we did on the armhole, take about 1/2 inch, and you need to just cut this line off there. That is for the ease. So when you open this one up, and that's how your sleeve pattern looks. Okay, so basically go ahead and match this pattern to the sleeve, and you need to open it, leave the seam allowance there, and go and match this and make sure this fits. But paper don't stretch like fabric, so with a stretchy fabric, because this is for t-shirt, you can stretch a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and that will sit fine. Okay, so there's no pleat or anything, it's plain and simple. So that's how you draft a pattern for a plus size. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you give it a go, let me know what the challenges you face, because I am 100% sure this is not perfect, but this is something that we learn along the way. So I'm going to send this off to Marley and ask her to make a t-shirt and maybe send me a picture or something like that to see how the pattern fits in. Usually in the industry, what they normally do, they'll go with a basic pattern, and because this is made for a body size, and they'll have standard measurements, and they'll draft a size 10 or a 12 as a base size, and then they go upgrading other sizes. Okay, if you have questions, leave a comment below and let me know. And if there are challenges you're facing, maybe in the future I will do another extended version of this pattern drafting. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a comment below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.